Ready? Yep. All right. So for a lightning talk, I haven't actually seen very many simple talks just about add-ons that people can just use. And so in the lightning talk fashion, I'm just going to try to rip through as much as I can. One of the original Plone conferences, this is one from Retsu from New Orleans. There was a great time where someone was in a lightning talk trying to enumerate all the different add-ons they could without knowing what they were just by their package names, which was really fun, but I'm just going to see if I can get through what I have here in 5 minutes. All right, so there is a few things that we have in our repo that are public, and we would love, some of this stuff has been forked, and we would love to push it back. I don't know who the original people are. So here we go. Collective notifications is a way of notifying users or groups of users. When you click on the link, it auto marks it as read, or you can manually click it, and then there's an external service adapter for email, so the notification will go through. Plone, email push notifications for Apple is what we're using. Collective audit log, we forked it. We don't know who it is. We'd like to push these changes back. Use a relational database to store audits, add, edit, delete workflow, logins, undos for us, and some custom features. Things that we added, such as being able to search, sort by different columns. Fixed quite a few of the issues that we saw in it, and I think the content rules stuff works. Trash can, we couldn't find anything that was simple that you would just simply be able to delete it and it would go off into a trash can without patching and doing all these other weird things. So after the item is deleted, it can be restored, ability to expunge it, and then there's a little script to expunge it after X days. Sentry, I don't know how anyone's using it here. We had a package that we had info.getSentry or something. We've updated it to use the latest Raven, expose all of the different Sentry attributes to it. Notifications can now be sent via Celery, and there's some JavaScript integration that actually works, but it's really finicky, and that's probably the reason why most of this conference is talking around JavaScript, is because it's finicky. The Redis cache really should be called collective.dogpile, but that's not really a great name. But basically, it uses dogpile.cache. So any backend for Dogpile will support caching, and it supports old-style cache managers, yes, with ZMI statistics. Toolbox is something that it would be neat for the Plone community to have something like this. I'm not sure how you'd organize it, but we have all these really boring scripts that we've written, and we've accumulated over years and years of just all sorts of different things. So it's a place that we document the scripts, what they do, and it's sitting there. We'd love to have other people work on it. The Elasticsearch index, we forked it, uses Elasticsearch DSL, supports faceting, backported to Plone 4 recently, and Celery integration works well. Collective library is this really weird thing for large organizations that basically have libraries where they can create folders and content structures, and you can create another library that points to a parent library, and then that library will see the parent's folders and contents, and then they can add things inside of their library. It's really strange. You could give it a try. It's really, really interesting. So if a parent does create a folder, a piece of content, automatically the child libraries will see it. Child libraries can also create content in the parent libraries transparently. A parent can delete its folders without removing the child library content. And a parent can mimic a child library structures, and then automatically things will show up in both the child. Got it. And so you can have really deep parentage, something like country, region, state, city, and have all these different sort of folder structures at each level. And there's some filtering adapters as well. More insanity is that you can actually have multiple parent libraries, which is really, really interesting. And if you want to see something that really demonstrates some really deep magic of traversal, this is a really, really interesting package. It's really insane. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, after Alexander will be Hiroki.
Okay.
Thank you. I really like to see. I really like to see some of use cases of Plone at the conferences. We haven't seen a lot in the last few days, so I want to show one we have done in the last time. Das Deutsche Institut für Japan-Forschungen, which is an institution located here in Tokyo, has done a project for sustainability and energy within Japan. So the site is completely written for the Japanese audience in Plone, because Plone can handle the Japanese languages perfectly, the translation, search on it. Thank you for Manabu for all the fixes in the search and everything of it. The nice thing is to do some larger stuff. So sometimes we have the information about it. Here, the idea is to make it possible for the Japanese community to line up all the sustainable energy resources in the country and to scroll and look at them. So it's the possibility that you can just select one of the several provided projects around it, see it on a map, get the information about it and everything. Well, Japanese is probably not the thing for all of us, so switching to English. The translation workflow and everything goes smooth together, solving all the information in it, and that's what's Plone about. We are managing content and making it accessible for the people. And that's a nice little project we are working on. And where is Philip? Thank you for all the support and work you have done for that project.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Hiroki is up now, and next will be Matthew Wilkes.
Oh, you forgot.
So we have a hard deadline at 6:20 or 18:20 for the foundation meeting after this. So anyone that we don't get to today will carry over to tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
It's great. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. Nice to meet you, and thanks for this great event. I'm really enjoying this event, and I learned so much things, and I noticed that the Plone community is really family and really friendly, and talking about guillotine or accessibility was really interesting for me too. Why I'm here? So because I'm using the Django mainly, and I don't use Plone so much times, or pyramid or Zop. I don't know well about Zop and the pyramid and so on. But I came here to know as a web a development or environment or community. And I want to know something of other Python web culture or environment or some knowledge or something. Okay, my name is Hiroki, KY, so please call me KY. I used Python and Django for 10 years, and I'm the chairperson of the Django Congress, Django Congress JP, and I was one of the staff of the Plone Symposium Tokyo in the 2015. So I introduced today, and now I introduce you about Django Congress JP. So this is the biggest event, I think, in the world, in Japan for Django. So more than 100 people attended this event, and there was both Japanese tracks and English tracks, and the event was mainly the one-day track for the sessions and the one day for the sprint. And here's the looks like. And this is me making the opening presentation. And this is nice shot, the nice snapshot, making a conversation and sharing knowledge. And this is a TP-san, comes from the Taipei, and making a presentation about, I think, the future of Django or asynchronously in the web development. So, and this is the second session floor. This is called a bar. This is nice atmosphere. And they follow all of us, all of attendees. So, so I think when I host some event or when I join to the event, I think I want everyone is all of a role. I don't want to spread the role like your attendees or your speakers or even your staffs. I want to be all of kind of roles. So for example, if you are just attendees, I will make a talk if you think so. But if you can share knowledge next to you, or you can help our staffs, or you can collect the garbage or introduce something, so you can pierce even the staffs. And I want to make an oral event, and I want to do some harassment something, and I want to make an event as really simple, so that there is a talks and sprints and the sharing knowledges. It is really nice, and I think that this Plone conference is really like that. So I do like this event, and I enjoyed. So I will host the Django Congress JP in 2019 too. So on May, there isn't a correct schedule anyway, but there will be a English talks, even English talk available. So if you are interested in the Django or some other web development, please join to the djangocongress.jp. It's Takanori take photo. Okay, so and also I'll make the talk tomorrow at the day 3 tomorrow morning in the 6th floor room D. Start at 10:40. The talk will about Django and authorization, but it's not talk about Django mainly. So I learned a lot of things from the Django security authorization and so on. So I conducted the system into the Django. So I'm talking about the security or authorization system. So if you are interested in some kind of talks, please join this talk. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Matthew. Next up will be John Jordan and Dylan J.
Okay.
For some filler time, Manabu
So-
had some questions for me.
So I have some questions to her. How about do you think Japan?
So what do I think of Japan? I really enjoy it so far. The jet lag I don't enjoy so much, but that's not your fault. But I have gotten to do a little bit of visiting and seeing around Tokyo, so that's been nice. Okay, Matthew, go ahead.
Hello. Okay. Is this the most scary thing you can hear from a client? So we had this very large university contact us saying we had a hardware failure like 6 months ago, and we're still running the site, but we can't run backups or pack anymore, so can you fix it, please? They tried it themselves first, fsrecover-p. Didn't work, so we found this script online. Now, it's not your fault. It's a really good script. It's not your fault. So it's a script that Mike Verstappen wrote, which is if you've got a corrupt ZODB and you need to get some information out of it, then an FS recover didn't work, then you can try this. What it does is it patches around a bunch of POS key errors so that you can get the instance to start up, so that you can go get the individual object you wanted, get the text of a field or something like that, and use that to rebuild your new database by just like copy and pasting the data. It doesn't fix it back to a working state. It lets you start the instance so you can do last-ditch data recovery. But, sorry. And Mike's quite clear about that. He says, we can see what data can be saved, not this fixes everything. Anyway, so they ran that and it deleted 1.7 gigabytes of their data. And generally we'd think that's probably meant that it hasn't worked very well and we shouldn't use this. But no, so they said, we've got that working, apart from like 2 objects still need to be deleted, so can we pay you to delete those extra objects? You know, you've just deleted 1.7 gig and you want me to delete more? And by the way, they had a backup, they just didn't restore from it, which is the really upsetting bit. If they just replaced the backup, it would all have been fine, but the problem is they didn't, and they carried on using it, and they have 6 months worth of data that they need to be fixed. So I wrote a new script. It's inspired by FS Recover, but it takes as a hint a known good ZODB from the past. So you've got your file storage, it's file storage only. If you have a file storage that's an old backup and a file storage that has known corruption, and you're lucky enough that all the corruption happens in the place before the backup starts covering it. Yeah, so if you could have restored from a backup and you just didn't think to do it, or you didn't realize there was corruption until too late, then this will help you. What it does is it runs through both ZODBs until it gets to the last point where there's overlap, and then it starts copying the new transactions in and fixing the headers and the back pointers so that it's a valid ZODB. Then it runs FS Recover again at the end just to be sure, because it's all dark magic and yeah. Back in the day, we could just email these files to Jim and he'd fix them for us. But so you managed to run this, and it recovered with 0 missing objects in about 40 minutes for 60 gigabyte data FS. And there's a GitHub gist, so if you ever have this problem, you can try this script and hopefully it will help. But yeah, good luck if you're in this situation, and hope your clients don't recover things themselves.
Thank you very much.
Okay, John and Dylan, I guess you're just going to stand by. Next, after that is Rob.
Okay, one more question. So, what type of, do you like Japanese food? Japanese food? Sushi or?
Yeah, I do enjoy sushi.
Already ate? Or eat? Already ate?
Oh, yeah, I've already had some.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to one of those places that all the sushi comes around on the conveyor belt. So you just kind of look at it, you know, you don't always know what it is, but it looks good, so you grab it. I haven't died.
Okay, so last year, Dylan over there kicked off PyCon in Thailand and assembled a team of helpers, and we charged in and organized our first PyCon. The photo there is the photo of the venue that will be in again next year. We had Wes McKinney doing the keynote, talking about data science and sustainability of open source and scientific endeavors. All the talks are on YouTube. There's a YouTube channel, and will be next year. We had veterans joining us. You can recognize the guy in yellow in front. I'm Manabu. And we had first-timers. This guy came all the way down from the north of Thailand to give his first ever talk at a conference. And we had more firsts. That's someone's first conference. That's Dylan's young daughter attending the conference. We had people from about 20 countries, 2 days, 3 tracks, 40+ talks. We had a Thai track as well, but most talks were in English, and most people speak English. The food is excellent. That's the lunch at the first day, I think it was. Those little things that look like dinosaurs are really fishes. It's very tasty. We had a code war that went. That was great fun, and we're doing one later this year again. We put on a meme party. That was the highlight of the conference for a bunch of us. We sold out early bird tickets in 5 days, and we had a waiting list. We had about 220 people in the end. So next year should be just as big at least, or bigger. We have no problem with accommodation and food. That's the map of the area on the right-hand side. There is the venue. The accommodation options nearby are about, say, $30 or so a night. And it's 5 minutes from the nearest public transport station. So yeah, join us. Thailand, land of beaches and fun. Okay.
I just realized that you didn't explain what Code War was, and we're going to run another one. And it's a really fun event that anyone can put on. If you want to run an event that is cross-language, it's super fun. So the idea is that at anyone, it's a tournament. So you start with 8 teams. Each team has one laptop. It has a minimum of 3 people and a maximum of 5 people. And their code gets put up onto the screen. So they're live coding head-to-head. First one to finish wins the round. So they're not hard problems, but it's you know, there's a lot of pressure, right? Everyone's watching you code, right? And we have funny commentary going on. We have silly music. Hopefully there's beer involved. And you get through tournament to the end. And yeah, super fun event. If you want to know the rules, it's online. So thanks. Come to Thailand next year.
Thank you very much. So actually, I promised that I will go to Thailand next June. So please come to ASEAN again. And Thailand, Bangkok is available in English. So and cheaper, nice food. It's a very nice place. So I want to return to Bangkok.
Up next will be Thomas.
All right, I'm going to show you a little demo first. So some people might have already seen this. This is boring, indeed. We'll get to the good stuff, don't worry. Yeah, so this is Volto, as you all know. You can browse through some items. You can view the items. You can edit them. Save everything. Add another page. Add some stuff there. Save that as well. And let's see what else. So we have some display options there to go to the list view. And you're saying, well, what's special about this? We already saw this, right? And we did, except the thing here is that the backend is running on is not Plone. The backend is not Guillotina. Just running a simple Node application, which I started with when I got here in Japan. I had the idea about, well, no, why not just start something else to see if it works? And it does. And it implements the same API as Plone does. And I mean, it's not fully feature complete, of course, but all the basics are there. So why would I ever do that? So one thing is that maybe front-end developers don't know a lot of the Python stack, and this would be really easy for them. Another reason is that it's actually a proof of concept that if you have another CMS, and if you just implement the same API as the Plone REST API has, you can actually use this on top of the other CMS. So maybe you have a Django application, or you have a Drupal or WordPress or Typo3, or just to name a few. If you implement the same API, you can actually just use Volto on top of that. So that was my idea. Thanks.
Okay, now we'll have Thomas, and after that is Nate.
So actually, I am 10 times Plone conference. The first is Washington D.C. So I missed San Francisco, only San Francisco. How many times?
I think this one's my fifth. First one was DC,
Oh, same.
and all the US ones since then, plus Brazil. Haven't been to Europe yet.
Yeah. Do you want another country? Do you want to go to?
I would love to visit the entire world, so anywhere.
So as we've heard a couple of minutes ago, Plone 5.2 will run on whiskey only for now. And yesterday I started to compare a couple of whiskey options because I was just interested in how it would work out. I prepared a Vagrant VM with 2 CPUs, 2 gigs of RAM, running on current Ubuntu Bionic. I installed Python 3.7.1 with pyenv, and then a build-out core dev on the 5.2 branch that has just been released. And I was running a single Plone instance using file storage, so no CO, of course, and Nginx in front of it. First option is the default that everybody will get now. It's a waitress using 4 worker threads. As a second options, I tested Unicorn and in 2 different configurations. One is with 4 worker threads with the default threading model, they call it sync. And a second option is with 4 workers using gevent worker class. And for Unicorn, there's a lot of other possible worker classes like eventlet, gthread, and tornado. I didn't test those. Then I had 2 configurations for, I tested 2 configurations for Mu Whiskey. One using the async IO loop engine with 4 greenlet workers. And Mu Whiskey also supports pre-forked processes. And I was going for, because that's important maybe, because because I'm having a Vagrant VM with 2 CPUs. I thought it's maybe good to have processes instead of threads. So I went for a hybrid setup with 2 pre-forked processes, each running 2 greenlet threads. And I was using good old HTTPerf and Apache benchmarking for just putting some load on those setups. So disclaimer, this is in no way representative, and what you're going to see now is not a recommendation for any of those setups. It's just I wanted to try it out and I wanted to share. So first, 1,000 sequential requests using HTTPerf. I wanted to use HTTPerf for the second test as well, but it turned out that it's not a good idea because HTTPerf is much more persistent than Apache benchmarking, and it will lead to a lot of 5.0x errors. Whereas Apache benchmarking, it just seems to wait until the request queue is empty and then send the next. So for the concurrent requests, I was using Apache benchmarked, so 5 concurrent requests and 1,000 requests in total. Yes, so this is the HTTPerf chart. As I said, it's in no way representative and it's not a recommendation, and I guess there's a lot of errors in it. And as you can see, there's not a lot of difference in this chart also. It seems to be that Unicorn using gevent is a bit slower than everything else, but it's not, it doesn't really matter maybe. You can see that there's quite a difference when we start having some concurrency. So in general, it seems that uWhiskey using greenlets seems to be a bit faster. Waitress is slowest, but maybe, yeah, it's not significant in any way. And as expected, the hybrid uWhiskey configuration using 2 processors can make use of the 2 CPUs of the Vagrant VM, and therefore is fastest in this test. Yeah, that's all from me. Thank you.
Good luck, Nate. And up next is Erik Steele.
Are you ready for jokes?
Okay. Yeah, I got one.
Yep, it broke. No, it didn't. Did it?
Yay.
Cool. Okay, so we're building a new product. We want to make WooCommerce, owning WooCommerce store as easy as owning a Shopify store. And I've had the privilege of working with Doman on this during the summer. And I don't care about how cool your system is or how fast you can churn out code. I care about how stable it is and the resilience against stupid bugs. So for this, we're using the deployment happens in a Kubernetes cluster, and we have a React front end, and there's a permit to basically drive the API that glues everything together. And I want to make sure that if there's a plugin on the front, like there's a selection list of plugins, that those keys actually match what the Kubernetes cluster expects. So we built we started using Swagger. Swagger has recently donated the whole concept to the open source community and renamed the whole thing to OpenAPI. So I'm going to be saying OpenAPI now. It's a new version of Swagger. And this is a short talk about how to do it with Pyramid. So here we have a simple drinks API. You have a get, you have a post. You can try it out. So what I did today was I drank water. Okay. Up until this point. And then you can record a drink. Again, you see how it should look. You say, I want to try it out. You say, I'm going to drink sake. Execute. I got 200 OK and what I had. And you can just repeat this. The good thing is, because down here, if you go to our models, we see that the name of the drink is limited to 10 characters. So if I do, where is it? Very long name, doesn't matter. I totally broke it. Let's see if I can do it again. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, totally broke it. What if I do this? Live demos. Yeah, totally broke it. In any case, it should work. I'm going to release the package this sprint. So the idea is, this is the code that you need for the entire API implementation. So this is a very simple database implementation. So you have one object, a drink, and then you have this is in-memory database. Haha. And then you have a get view and a record view. The point what I'm trying to make here is that you get all the validation from the API. So if you submit a wrong schema, this code here would not even execute. So you don't need any validation here, any ifs. And by having this little code here, that means you have way less tests because the OpenAPI core library already does all the tests for you. And also, if you return something that doesn't make sense, that is not according to the API spec, your response will fail. So that's fantastic for front-end developers because they know that what they're getting is actually matches the API implementation. So the API specification. There's code. So this entire app, which works, I promise, is on Zupa/minimal OpenAPI. I'm going to add tests and things to it during the sprint. Besides the maximum length validators, you have a ton of other validators. You can do regex. You can also do your own custom validators, which I'm also going to add examples for. And if you want to see how this actually works in practice, there's a link here at the end, full-fledged production API spec, which is for our WooCart project. And for example, so here we have a pattern for subdomain validation. And if I go to plugins, so if this changes, for example, the name of this plugin changes, or we add a new plugin, or we remove a plugin, React will not build because it takes this specification and builds enumerations out of it. Go will not compile because it creates enumerations from the API, and Python build will fail because MyPy again checks against this specification. So this specification is a single source of truth, and if things change here, all of our systems will break until we fix them, and it's been fantastic. That's it.
Okay, Erik Steele is up next, and after that is Yusei.
Okay. My back is a Plone logo. Do you? Oh, Jutsu. Why did you select this kanji?
This one's magic.
Oh, yes.
I didn't have a good reason for picking it, but I don't know. Python, you can do a lot of magic.
Oh,
So that works out.
Nice. And Krishi, so we can readable the katakana. So very nice key. So very useful for Japanese. Okay, thank you.
This has nothing to do with Plone. I just wanted to talk about another Python project I've been playing around with. It's called Home Assistant. It is for home automation and all that kind of crazy fun stuff. It is, according to GitHub, the 9th fastest growing open source project on GitHub this year. There is a very active community. Basically, what it's allowing me to do is connect. They currently integrate with over 1,200 different home automation components, all kinds of various things. Basically lets me run it from home on a Raspberry Pi, sit it behind my firewall, so most of this stuff can't get out and talk to all the things that are trying to mess around with it. And basically, so like I can get basically combine a whole bunch of different things, different lights, light platforms, door locks, that sort of thing, so I can turn on lights in my living room from here. We'll see if my wife texts me and asks me what the hell I'm doing. So turn things on, check status while I'm away, so because we always get about 2 miles down the road and ask, do we lock the door? We can check that or do it automatically. It's all written in YAML, which is YAML. But there's also, so besides just turning things off and on, there's also a whole automation setup, which is the fun part. So it works in Python, so I can do all kinds of crazy things like, so it's fall right now, so weather's getting cold. If the temperature's gonna be below 40 degrees tonight, send me a message to remind me to turn on my furnace. Or if the kids have left the house and left the door open for more than 2 minutes, it'll shut off the heat and give me a notification. I've been working on shock collars, but they won't keep them on. And my favorite one is Morning Startup, which will pull the iCalendar feed for my kids' school to find out which school day it is. Then I basically set up a morning announcement that checks the weather, tells them what they have at school today, whether it's gym or art class, that sort of thing, and just is sort of like a morning alarm to let us know what's going on that day. So it's a fun project. Check it out. That's it.
Okay, now we will hear from Yusei, and after that will be our last lightning talk for today, Mike Derstappen. Do you have anything else to talk about, Manabu?
Okay. So, okay. How do you think this conference? How was this conference? How do you think?
Oh, how's the conference? Oh, it's great. The food is awesome, like all the snacks. Lots of the snacks that we don't get in the U.S., not things that we normally eat. So I love those just the little things like the pandas yesterday and the little seaweed things. I enjoy those.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay, hello. Do you know it's possible to store a NumPy array in GODB? I'll show you a demonstration. So there is this Python package, it makes possible to store NumPy array in GeoDB. So this is a code. I wrote an external method in Zob2. And this is a Python script. So I run. Then you can see the persistent NumPy array is printed. And in background, this Hoge method is repeatedly executed. So currently, this array is becoming longer and longer and longer. So I did up. Why? Oops. Sorry, so anyway, so it's possible. So if you are interested in it, please try this Python package. Thank you.
Okay, Mike Verstappen will be our final lightning talk. After that, pretty soon, we'll start the foundation meeting. Everyone is welcome to attend, but I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to talk unless you are a foundation member.
Okay, last question. So,
okay.
What do you know the Japanese sentence? Japanese sentence?
America jen desu?
What? Oh, America jen desu.
I am American.
Okay, so American people means American people. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, I have a question for you. How much time do you think it takes to build this really simple to-do add-on for Plone? Guess.
30 seconds.
You're really fast. No. What?
3 minutes.
3 minutes? You're mean. Let me show you something. Okay, we're using Plone CLI to create a Plone package. Then we create a content type, to-dos, it's a container. We want it to be globally edible. And then we add a to-do item, which is not globally edible, but will also have parent to-dos. I speed it a little bit up because I'm really slow typer. Now we add a view, also with the Plone CLI. And then we have to do some customizations. In the background, I just let it do the build out and virtual amp stuff. So I go to the generated code, I put them a little bit, this is just markup. Then I have to adjust the marker interface for the content type where the view should run on. And now I define my schema. I use a little snippet plugin, which is also on Collective for VS Code. So you can use this to create XML model definitions. So we add 2 fields, like a title for a task and a status. Now we just serve. We also have a link, so you can open it. Especially for beginners, this is more understandable. So we just use the built-in build-out, create a Plone site, install the add-on. Add the to-dos, the app, let's say. and we add some to-dos. That's basically what you need. As we still have time, let's add some translations, some locals. All we need to do is we just have to create the locales folder, then we use the update locale script. It will generate the files in it. We have to do it twice, and then we have to pass locales files. And after restarting it, I switch the main language, or add German in this case. Yeah, this is still the buggy version with the folder contents bug. So yeah, there you can see a piece of translations. That's basically it. Thank you.